Welcome, future strategists and masters of influence. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful concepts from Sun Tzu's Art of War, the strategic use of deception. Over the next hours, I'm going to show you exactly how to apply these ancient principles to dominate in business, relationships, negotiations, and every aspect of your modern life. But before we begin, I need to know you're truly committed to this journey. If you're ready to transform your life and step into your power, comment "Strategic Mind" right now. Let me know you're here, you're listening, and you're ready to learn. Your engagement fuels my passion to create content that genuinely changes lives. Sun Tzu said, "All warfare is based on deception." But here's what most people miss. Life itself is a series of strategic battles. Every conversation, every negotiation, every interaction is an opportunity to apply these timeless principles. Today, you'll learn not just the theory, but the practical application that will set you apart from the masses. Chapter 1. Understanding the foundation of strategic deception. Let's start with the fundamental principle. Sun Tzu wrote, "When able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near." This isn't about lying or manipulation. It's about strategic information management. In the modern world, this translates to controlling how others perceive your capabilities, intentions, and position. Think about successful entrepreneurs. Do they reveal their entire business strategy to competitors? Do they show all their cards during negotiations? Absolutely not. They understand that information is power, and the strategic revelation or concealment of information is what separates winners from losers. Let me give you a real-world example. Elon Musk often uses strategic ambiguity about Tesla's production numbers and future plans. He doesn't lie, but he controls the narrative, keeps competitors guessing, and maintains his strategic advantage. This is Sun Tzu's deception principle in action. The key insight here is that deception doesn't mean dishonesty. It means strategic communication. It means understanding that how you present information is often more important than the information itself. In your personal life, this might mean not revealing your full hand during salary negotiations. If you're looking for a new job, you don't tell your current employer about every interview. You manage information strategically. If you're starting to see how this applies to your life, comment "Information is power" and let me know you're following along. Your engagement shows me that this content is hitting home and motivating me to dig even deeper. Sun Tzu also said, "The supreme excellence is to subdue the enemy without fighting." In modern terms, this means achieving your objectives without direct confrontation. This is where strategic deception becomes invaluable. Consider a business scenario. Instead of directly competing on price with a competitor, you might redirect the conversation to value, quality, or unique features where you have an advantage. You're not fighting their battle. You're changing the battlefield entirely. The ancient Chinese military strategists understood that perception shapes reality. If your enemy believes you're weak, they'll underestimate you. If they believe you're stronger than you are, they might retreat without a fight. This psychological warfare principle applies to every aspect of modern life. In dating and relationships, people naturally present their best selves. This isn't deception, it's strategic presentation. You highlight your strengths and downplay your weaknesses until the relationship develops enough that complete honesty is appropriate. The business world operates on these principles constantly. Marketing is essentially the art of strategic deception, presenting your product in the most favorable light while being truthful about its benefits. Understanding this foundation is crucial because it shifts your mindset from passive participant to active strategist. You begin to see interactions not just as conversations, but as strategic engagements where information management can determine outcomes. Chapter 2. The 5 Fundamental Deception Strategies. Now let's dive into Sun Tzu's 5 fundamental deception strategies and how to apply them in your daily life. Strategy 1. Appear weak when you are strong. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive strategy for most people. Our natural instinct is to show our strength, to demonstrate our capabilities. But Sun Tzu understood that appearing weak can be your greatest weapon. In negotiations, this might mean downplaying your alternatives or your eagerness to close a deal. If you're buying a car and the salesperson knows you have cash and you're desperate to buy today, you've lost your leverage. Instead, you might mention budget constraints or other cars you're considering. I once witnessed a brilliant application of this principle during a business acquisition. The buyer appeared cash-strapped and uncertain, constantly questioning whether they could afford the deal. The seller, eager to close, reduced their price by 20%. Only later did it become clear that the buyer had substantial resources and had used this strategy masterfully. In your career, this might mean not immediately revealing all your qualifications during an interview. Let the interviewer discover your strengths gradually. This creates a more powerful impression than laying all your cards on the table immediately. Strategy 2. Appear strong when you are weak. This is the flip side, projecting strength when you're in a vulnerable position. This isn't about arrogance or false confidence. It's about strategic presentation that prevents others from taking advantage of your weaknesses. Startups use this principle constantly. They present themselves as established companies even when they're operating on a shoestring budget. They create professional websites, use impressive office addresses, and speak confidently about their future plans. This isn't dishonesty, it's strategic positioning. If you're job hunting after being laid off, you don't lead with your vulnerability. You focus on your skills, your experience, and your value proposition. You project confidence and competence even while you might be feeling uncertain internally. Strategy 3. Create false impressions about your intentions. Sun Tzu wrote, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." This means keeping your true intentions hidden until the moment of action. In business, this might mean working on multiple strategies simultaneously while only revealing one to your competitors. Companies often announce plans that are different from their actual intentions to throw competitors off track. Amazon mastered this principle. For years, they appeared to be just an online bookstore while secretly building the infrastructure that would later support their dominance in cloud computing, logistics, and multiple other industries. Strategy 4. Use misdirection. This involves drawing attention away from your real objective. Magicians use this constantly. They direct your attention to one hand while the other performs the trick. In negotiations, you might focus heavily on one aspect of the deal while your real objective lies elsewhere. If you're negotiating salary, you might spend time discussing vacation days or benefits while your real focus is on the base salary or equity. Strategy 5. Timing your revelations. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of timing. The same information revealed at different times can have completely different impacts. If you're launching a product, you don't reveal all features at once. You create anticipation, build momentum, and strategically reveal information to maximize impact. If you're seeing how these strategies could transform your approach to challenges, comment strategic timing and let me know which strategy resonates most with you. Your feedback helps me understand what's making the biggest impact. The key to mastering these strategies is practice and observation. Start paying attention to how successful people in your field use these principles. Watch how politicians, business leaders, and influencers manage information strategically. Remember, these aren't tricks or manipulation tactics. They're strategic communication principles that help you achieve your objectives more effectively while maintaining your integrity. Chapter 3. Reading the Battlefield, Situational Awareness. Sun Tzu emphasized the critical importance of understanding your environment before implementing any strategy. He said, "Know your enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be defeated." In modern life, your battlefield might be a boardroom, a dating scene, a job interview, or a social situation. The principles remain the same. You must understand the dynamics, the players, and the underlying motivations before you can effectively apply deceptive strategies. Understanding power dynamics. Every situation has power dynamics. In any room, there are decision makers, influencers, skeptics, and followers. Your ability to quickly identify these roles determines how you'll position yourself strategically. I'll share a story that illustrates this perfectly. A friend of mine was interviewing for a senior position at a tech company. During the group interview, he quickly identified that while the CEO was present, the real decision-maker was the quiet CTO who asked pointed technical questions. Instead of trying to impress the CEO with big-picture vision, he focused on demonstrating technical competence to the CTO. He got the job because he read the room correctly. Identifying motivations. People are driven by different motivations: money, recognition, security, power, relationships. Understanding what drives the people you're dealing with allows you to frame your approach in terms that resonate with their core desires. In sales, this is fundamental. You don't sell a product, you sell the outcome that product provides. If you're dealing with someone motivated by security, you emphasize reliability and risk mitigation. If they're motivated by recognition, you focus on how your solution will make them look good to their superiors. Recognizing patterns. Sun Tzu was a master of pattern recognition. He understood that human behavior, while complex, often follows predictable patterns. People tend to respond to similar situations in similar ways. Start observing the patterns in your own environment. How does your boss typically respond to new ideas? What approach works best with your family members? Which communication style resonates with your friends? Once you understand these patterns, you can adapt your approach accordingly. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional intelligence applied strategically. Timing your observations. The same person can be completely different depending on their mood, stress level, recent experiences, or even the time of day. Part of reading the battlefield is understanding when to engage and when to wait. I've learned that approaching my business partner with new ideas works best in the morning when he's fresh and optimistic, rather than late in the day when he's tired and more risk-averse. This simple observation has improved our communication dramatically, creating information advantage. Sun Tzu valued intelligence gathering above almost everything else. In your context, this means actively seeking information that others don't have or aren't paying attention to. This might mean researching a company's recent challenges before a job interview, understanding a client's industry trends before a sales meeting, or knowing someone's interests before a social gathering. The key is to gather information that provides strategic advantage without being obvious about it. Social media, company websites, industry publications, and mutual connections are all valuable intelligence sources. If you're starting to see your daily interactions as strategic opportunities, comment battlefield awareness and share one situation where better situational awareness could have changed your outcome. Adapting your persona. Once you understand the battlefield, you can adapt your presentation to be most effective. This doesn't mean being fake or dishonest. It means emphasizing different aspects of your personality and capabilities based on what the situation requires. In a job interview with a traditional company, you might emphasize your reliability and process-oriented thinking. In an interview with a startup, you might focus on your adaptability and creative problem-solving skills. You're not lying. You're strategically highlighting different true aspects of yourself. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Influence and Perception. Sun Tzu understood that warfare is fundamentally psychological. The same principle applies to every aspect of modern life. Your ability to influence how others perceive you and your situation is often more important than the objective reality. The power of first impressions. Research shows that people form judgments about others within seconds of meeting them, and these first impressions are remarkably persistent. Sun Tzu would have called this winning the battle before it begins. Every interaction is an opportunity to create a strategic first impression. This goes beyond just appearance. It includes your energy, your confidence level, how you enter a room, your handshake, your eye contact, and your opening words. I learned this lesson early in my career. I was young and looked even younger, which was a disadvantage in business settings. Instead of trying to hide my youth, I leaned into competence and preparation. I would arrive early, know more about the topic than anyone else in the room, and speak with quiet confidence. This strategy turned my apparent weakness into a strength. People were impressed by my competence despite my youth. Controlling the narrative. Sun Tzu wrote, "The clever combatant looks to the effect of combined energy and does not require too much from individuals." In modern terms, this means controlling the overall story rather than trying to win every individual point. Politicians master this principle. Instead of defending every criticism, they redirect to their core message. They understand that the person who controls the narrative controls the outcome. In your career, this might mean proactively sharing your accomplishments and career goals with your manager rather than waiting for performance reviews. You're creating the narrative of your professional growth rather than letting others define it for you. The principle of scarcity. Sun Tzu understood that people value what is rare or difficult to obtain. This principle is everywhere in modern life, from limited time offers to exclusive memberships to playing hard to get in relationships. But here's the sophisticated application. You can create perceived scarcity around your time, attention, or availability without being dishonest. If you're always immediately available, you signal that you don't have better options. Strategic unavailability increases your perceived value. This doesn't mean being rude or unresponsive. It means being selective about when and how you're available. It means having boundaries that signal self-respect and high standards. Anchoring and framing. The way you present information determines how it's received. The same facts can support completely different conclusions depending on how they're framed. If you're negotiating salary, you don't start with what you hope to get. You start higher and allow room for negotiation. The first number mentioned becomes the anchor point for the entire conversation. If you're presenting a risky project to your boss, you don't lead with the risks. You lead with the potential benefits and address risks as manageable challenges with solutions already in mind. Social proof and authority. People are influenced by what others are doing and by perceived authority. Sun Tzu would have called this borrowing strength from allies. In modern contexts, this might mean mentioning other clients, name-dropping strategic connections, or referencing industry standards to support your position. You're not lying. You're strategically using social validation to strengthen your case. The confidence paradox. Here's something counterintuitive. The most confident people often reveal some vulnerability. Complete invulnerability appears inauthentic and can trigger skepticism. Strategic vulnerability can actually increase trust and influence. This might mean acknowledging a limitation while demonstrating how you've overcome it, or admitting uncertainty about one aspect while showing complete confidence in your core competencies. If you're recognizing how psychology plays into your daily interactions, comment, Mind Games Master, and tell me about a time when understanding psychology could have changed your outcome. Creating emotional investment. Sun Tzu understood that emotional investment leads to commitment. If you can get someone emotionally invested in an outcome, they become your ally in achieving it. This might mean asking for someone's advice rather than just their approval, involving them in the problem-solving process, or helping them see how your success contributes to their success. The key insight is that people support what they help create. By involving others and developing solutions, you create emotional investment in the outcome. Chapter 5. Advanced Deception Techniques for Modern Life. Now we're moving into advanced territory. These are sophisticated strategies that require practice and emotional intelligence to implement effectively. The Trojan Horse Strategy. Sun Tzu wrote about appearing to give the enemy what they want while actually achieving your own objectives. In modern life, this translates to presenting your ideas in terms of what others want to hear. If you want to implement a new process at work, don't focus on why you think it's better. Focus on how it solves problems your boss cares about: efficiency, cost reduction, or risk mitigation. I once wanted to convince my team to adopt a new project management system. Instead of talking about the features I liked, I focused on how it would reduce the reporting burden they constantly complained about. Same system, different framing, completely different reception. The reverse psychology technique. Sometimes the best way to get someone to do something is to suggest they might not be able to do it. This works because it triggers people's desire to prove themselves. This technique requires careful calibration. It works best with confident, competitive people and can backfire with insecure individuals. The key is understanding your audience. Strategic silence. Sun Tzu valued the power of what wasn't said as much as what was said. In negotiations, uncomfortable silence often prompts the other party to reveal more information or make concessions. Most people are uncomfortable with silence and will fill it, often revealing more than they intended. Learning to be comfortable with strategic pauses can dramatically improve your negotiating position. The multiple option technique. Instead of presenting one proposal, present multiple options where your preferred choice is positioned as the reasonable middle ground. This is based on the psychological principle that people often choose the middle option when presented with a range. If you want approval for a $50,000 budget, you might present options for $30,000, $50,000, and $80,000. The $50,000 option suddenly appears reasonable and conservative. Timing revelations for maximum impact. Information revealed at the right moment has exponentially more impact than the same information shared at the wrong time. If you have good news, share it when your audience is in a positive mood and can fully appreciate it. If you have challenging news, consider timing and context carefully to maximize receptivity. The decoy strategy. Sometimes you create a less attractive option to make your preferred option look better by comparison. Restaurants use this with their wine lists. They include a very expensive wine to make the moderately expensive wine seem reasonable. In your career, this might mean presenting a challenging timeline alongside your realistic timeline, making the realistic option appear generous rather than demanding. Building strategic alliances. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of alliances. In modern contexts, this means identifying and cultivating relationships with people who can support your objectives. This isn't about using people. It's about creating mutually beneficial relationships where everyone wins. The most successful people understand that individual success often depends on collective success. Information asymmetry. Having information that others don't have is a powerful strategic advantage. This might mean industry knowledge, personal insights, or simply being better prepared than your counterparts. The key is not just having information, but knowing how and when to use it strategically. Sometimes the power lies in what you know. Sometimes it lies in what others think you know. If these advanced techniques are opening new possibilities in your mind, comment "Advanced Strategist" and let me know which technique you're most excited to try. The perceived value technique. People often value things based on how they're presented rather than their intrinsic worth. A service described as exclusive consultation commands higher prices than the same service described as advice. This applies to how you present yourself, your ideas, and your contributions. The same work can be perceived very differently depending on how it's framed and positioned. Strategic vulnerability. Counterintuitively, revealing certain vulnerabilities can increase trust and influence. People are more likely to help someone who appears human and relatable than someone who seems perfect and untouchable. The key is choosing which vulnerabilities to reveal and when. Strategic vulnerability creates connection while maintaining respect and authority. Chapter 6. Practical Applications in Business and Career. Let's get specific about how these principles apply to your professional life. Every business interaction is an opportunity to apply Sun Tzu's strategic thinking. Job interviews. The traditional approach to job interviews is to answer questions honestly and hope for the best. The strategic approach is to understand what the interviewer really wants and position yourself accordingly. Before any interview, research not just the company, but the specific challenges they're facing, the background of your interviewers, and the context of why this position exists. This intelligence allows you to position yourself as the solution to their specific problems. During the interview, use the show, don't tell principle. Instead of claiming you're a problem solver, tell a story about a specific problem you solved that's relevant to their situation. Use strategic questions to demonstrate your thinking process and gather information about what they really value. Questions like, what does success look like in this role after 6 months? Or, what challenges has the team been facing? Show strategic thinking while giving you valuable intelligence. Salary negotiations. Most people approach salary negotiations from a position of weakness. They're grateful for the opportunity and afraid to ask for too much. Strategic thinking completely changes this dynamic. First, establish your value before discussing compensation. Help them visualize the impact you'll have, the problems you'll solve, and the value you'll create. Once they're emotionally invested in having you, price becomes a secondary consideration. Use anchoring strategically. Research shows that the first number mentioned in a negotiation heavily influences the final outcome. If they ask about your salary expectations, turn it back to them. I'm sure you have a range in mind for this position. What did you have in mind? If you must give a number first, anchor high but reasonably. Instead of asking for $80,000, you might say, based on my research and the value I'll bring, I was thinking in the range of $80,000 to $90,000. Workplace politics. Office politics isn't about being manipulative. It's about understanding the informal power structures and working within them effectively. Identify the real decision-makers and influencers in your organization. These aren't always the people with the highest titles. Sometimes the executive assistant has more influence than the director. Build strategic relationships before you need them. The time to develop allies isn't when you're facing a challenge. It's when things are going well and you can offer value to others. Understand that perception is reality in corporate environments. Your actual performance matters less than how your performance is perceived and communicated. This means strategically sharing your accomplishments and making sure your contributions are visible to the right people. Client relationships. Whether you're in sales, consulting, or any client-facing role, these principles are invaluable. Never appear desperate for their business, even if you are. Desperation reduces your perceived value and weakens your negotiating position. Instead, focus on whether you're a good mutual fit. Use the consultation approach rather than the sales approach. Position yourself as an expert advisor who happens to have solutions, rather than a salesperson trying to close a deal. Create urgency without being pushy. This might be through limited time offers, capacity constraints, or timing-sensitive opportunities. Leadership and team management. If you're in a leadership position, Sun Tzu's principles can dramatically improve your effectiveness. Don't reveal all your strategies to your team immediately. Allow them to discover your competence and wisdom gradually. This creates more lasting respect than trying to impress them all at once. Use strategic delegation to develop your team while maintaining oversight. Give people responsibility for outcomes, not just tasks. This creates ownership and investment. Manage information flow strategically. Your team doesn't need to know about every challenge or uncertainty you're facing as a leader. Share what motivates and focuses them. Handle the rest privately. If you're seeing how these principles could transform your professional life, comment career strategist and tell me which area of your career could benefit most from strategic thinking. Building your personal brand. Your professional reputation is one of your most valuable assets. Sun Tzu's principles apply directly to how you build and manage your personal brand. Control the narrative about your professional identity. Don't let others define who you are. Proactively communicate your strengths, values, and aspirations. Use social proof strategically. Share accomplishments, testimonials, and associations that reinforce your desired professional image. Be strategic about the projects you choose and the associations you make. Each professional decision should align with and reinforce your desired brand identity. Chapter 7. Relationships and Social Dynamics. The final chapter focuses on applying these principles to personal relationships and social situations. These applications require the most sensitivity and emotional intelligence. Dating and romantic relationships. In the early stages of dating, strategic thinking can help you build attraction and connection while maintaining your authenticity. The principle of scarcity applies here. Being too available too quickly can reduce your perceived value. This doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means having a full life that includes but doesn't revolve around dating. Use strategic vulnerability to build connection. Share personal stories and experiences that reveal your character while maintaining some mystery about your life. Present your best self while remaining authentic. Emphasize your positive qualities and interests while being honest about who you are. Family dynamics. Family relationships often involve complex dynamics that have developed over years or decades. Strategic thinking can help you navigate these relationships more effectively. Understand each family member's motivations and communication styles. What works with one sibling might backfire with another. Choose your battles strategically. Not every disagreement needs to become a conflict. Sometimes strategic agreement or redirection is more effective than confrontation. Use the alliance principle. Find family members who share your perspective and work together to influence family decisions or dynamics. Social situations and networking. Every social situation is an opportunity to build relationships and expand your influence. In networking situations, focus on being interested rather than interesting. Ask questions, listen actively, and find ways to be helpful to others. This creates stronger connections than trying to impress people with your accomplishments. Use strategic positioning in social settings. Where you stand, who you talk to, and how you enter conversations all impact how you're perceived. Remember names and personal details. This simple practice can dramatically improve your social influence and relationship-building effectiveness. Conflict resolution. When conflicts arise, strategic thinking can help you achieve better outcomes while preserving relationships. Separate the person from the problem. Focus on finding solutions rather than assigning blame. Use the feel, felt, found technique. I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way, but here's what we've found works. Look for win-win solutions where both parties can claim victory. Sometimes this means framing the same outcome in different ways for different people. Building influence and persuasion. The most effective influence is invisible. People should feel like they're making their own decisions, not being persuaded. Start with small agreements before moving to larger requests. Once someone says yes to something small, they're more likely to say yes to something bigger. Use storytelling to make your points. Stories bypass logical resistance and create emotional connection to your ideas. Appeal to people's self-interest while maintaining ethical boundaries. Help them see how your proposal benefits them personally. If you're ready to implement these relationship strategies, comment Relationship Master and tell me which relationship in your life could benefit from more strategic thinking. Conclusion: your path to strategic mastery. We've covered an enormous amount of ground today. From the fundamental principles of strategic deception to advanced techniques for business, career, and relationships. But knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. Your transformation begins with changing how you see the world. Every interaction is now a strategic opportunity. Every conversation is a chance to apply these principles. Every challenge is a puzzle to be solved with strategic thinking. Start small. Choose one principle from today's training and focus on implementing it consistently for the next week. Maybe it's strategic silence in negotiations, or controlling your narrative at work, or managing information flow in your relationships. Pay attention to the results. Notice how people respond differently when you approach situations strategically. Observe how small changes in your approach can create dramatically different outcomes. But remember, these principles are powerful, and with power comes responsibility. Use these strategies to create win-win situations, to build genuine relationships, and to achieve your objectives while maintaining your integrity. Sun Tzu's wisdom has survived for over 2,500 years because it reveals fundamental truths about human nature and strategic thinking. These principles worked in ancient China, and they work in modern life because people are still people. The question isn't whether these strategies work. The question is whether you'll have the discipline and wisdom to implement them consistently and ethically. If you've made it through all 5 hours of this training, you're already demonstrating the kind of commitment that separates winners from dreamers. If you're ready to take your life to the next level using these principles, comment Strategic Master and let me know you're committed to implementation. Your journey to strategic mastery begins now. The ancient wisdom of Sun Tzu, combined with modern applications and your commitment to growth, is a powerful combination that can transform every aspect of your life. Remember, the supreme excellence is to achieve your objectives without unnecessary conflict, to influence without manipulation, and to win while helping others win too. The battlefield is your life. The strategy is in your hands. The victory is waiting for you to claim it. Go forward and apply these principles. Your future self will thank you for the strategic thinking you implement today. Thank you for your attention, your engagement, and your commitment to growth. Now go out there and become the strategic master you're capable of being.